me being vulnerable in a journey of, how do you say this? Knowing that shame doesn't have to be a dirty word.
Yes.
Um, because part of me was embarrassed to actually be transparent because people looked at me in such a different light. But it was killing me.
Mhm.
Like I was decaying inside because you can only keep up with the lies so long.
Right, right. And now we are going to bring our next guest in. She must have been lurking. She heard me fussing because she popped up as soon as I said her name. But I want to welcome Miss Star Rebel to the Horizons Author Lounge. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. You know what's funny? Well, first of all, I have to say I definitely enjoyed uh, the segment right before me. It was just so inspiring.
Yes,
That was
yes,
awesome. And I like, Dr. Rhonda, how you put both of us together. I mean, because it's like I literally, like my story literally resonates with a lot of things that the author right before me, isn't she a minister? The minister just said.
yes, yes.
And so, you know what's funny though? So I actually signed on 10 minutes ahead, like I was supposed to, but I didn't realize I was supposed to scroll down and hit enter the studio or something. So I was just sitting there chilling, like do 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 do
I
do.
think that's why I'm like, I know she's here. I see her in the comments.
Is that not hilarious? Mm-mm.
Well, welcome to the show anyway. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm glad we finally are able to make this happen. I think we were trying to make this interview happen for a little while now.
Yes, yes. I forgive you.
Oh, I cannot with you. Well, why don't we tell everybody? Let's start by telling everybody who is Star Rebel, besides Mark's fellow she sister.
Right. So actually, look, I am just a country girl at heart, raised up as a preacher's kid in the church and went to, did the whole college and expanded my educational side of my life. And I realized, though, through the years, that the most important thing for me to do is definitely to cultivate my self love and appreciate the woman that I am. Hence, which is how I got to She Publishing, who I'm in love with, Shanita, who is my
Yes.
publisher, and my book, Star Rebel, The Resurrection of Star Rebel.
Okay. Well, tell me about the resurrection of Star Rebel.
So, actually, you know what I want to do? I want to do something I hadn't done before, right?
Okay.
So, I'm just going to read the back of the book just to give you an idea.
Okay.
So, as a as a preacher's kid, she was raised to embrace faith and believe in a higher power. Yet she found herself trapped in life's heartaches and unattainable expectations, entombed in the web of deep-rooted lies. She was a mere shadow of her former self, a stranger in her reflection. She had allowed herself to disintegrate like ashes. Beneath her charming smile was a soul being buried alive by internal conflict and emotional turmoil.
Mm.
And so that is really the essence of my book. And it is a memoir, but it's much more than that. It is a journey of, just like the minister just said, of authenticity, of being real with who you are, what you've been through, and loving yourself enough to where you take care of yourself and
Yeah.
you actually realize it's okay if someone doesn't love you the way you feel like you should be loved. It's okay for you not to have them in your circle, in your immediate nucleus. I think that that is one thing that this book has helped. being pushed by Shanita to just be really honest about what I want to share without
Yes.
any hesitations took me to another level. If you have a story,
Mhm.
please reach out to She
Well,
Publishing. Please, like
that was actually what I
it
wanted to ask you,
yeah.
Star, is because first of all, it takes a while to get to the point where you can say it's okay if everybody doesn't like you or if everybody doesn't see you a certain way. So, when were you able to come to that realization? And then the second part of that question is, when did you feel that you were strong enough to tell your story and to basically strip down in front of the world, to be honest about your story?
Whew, Dr. Rhonda, the way you said it. Um, so I don't really, I can't really say exactly what catapulted me into being strong enough. I feel like I was doing the work as far as I'm used to people liking me. I'm used to being the life of the party and
Yeah.
everyone patting me on the back, but I'm also used to going home and crying myself to sleep every single
Mm.
night. Um, I was also used to self harm. I talk about my unknowing addiction to opioid in my book. And with that is very interesting to share because I didn't know I was addicted. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine after she read my book, and she was like, "Well, what did you think when you were stealing people's medication?" I said, "I was just thinking I was surviving."
You didn't even think about the other person.
And now I understand what how an addict must feel. I did not see myself that way because I looked like a polished individual,
Mm.
but I was doing diabolical things and causing self harm. When I came out and was really honest about the things I went through, not just with that with the opioids, but the mental challenges and some other things in regards to marriage and the loss of my son,
Mhm.
it's like you would think that people would be like, oh, that's so good that you got that out. That is so good that you saw a psychiatrist and you got help. I actually had people come up to me and say, I ain't got problems like you.
Mm.
I'm talking about this is like people that say they love me. I had people say, well, I don't need a psychiatrist. I don't have to go to one. And I said, that's probably because you causing everybody else to go to one. Okay. So here's the thing is that I realized I used to like literally have a rebuttal. If somebody were to come for me, I'm like, right? But I realized who cares what you think? Think it. The main thing that I have to focus on right now is being able to love myself, feel good about myself, and protect myself. And when you protect yourself, sometimes it is relinquishing relationships with family, with friends that you have known for double-digit years. It may be leaving a tumultuous relationship.
Right.
But once you learn to love and protect yourself, I'm telling you, it is a new freedom. I was in another country and I was with a group of people last year, but I'm very much a loner. So I was just walking around eating by myself, and this group of people came up to me. And one of the girls said, I saw you yesterday eating in here. I was like, okay. She's like, you just look so happy. And I said, I am. I am. And Dr. Rhonda, I'm sure you can attest to the freedom when you finally are honest,
Yes.
when you finally let things go, even things like the minister was saying that that you haven't dealt with, and you finally let that go. There's a freedom that you can't really even articulate that you
Hmm.
feel, in a peace.
Absolutely. And I always remind people though that to get to that point is a journey. This isn't something you just wake up the next morning and say, I'm good now. And there are going to be times where you might trip up and you have to remind yourself who you are. So, do you talk a bit about that process in your book as well?
Yes, it is a journey. It's a journey of
And the lies of what you're telling yourself.
I'm telling myself, I'm exuding to other people to make them feel comfortable. When people hurt me, I don't say anything. I bite my tongue, and say, "Oh no, that didn't hurt. No, I'm good." Uh,
Hmm.
but it all builds up. The lies when I say, I don't hurt myself, or that situations aren't, a negative space for me to be in, and then the lies about who I am as a
Mm,
person to myself, to me, is the most treacherous because it causes the most damage when we lie to ourselves. I think about I think about society, right? And if you just go with me 1 second on this
mhm.
journey of how society teaches us not to accept and love and appreciate who we are. We got filters for pictures. We got people catfishing. The
Yep.
whole thing is be anyone you want to be. Put your information in AI. Let AI talk for you. And there's this beauty that's missing in
Hmm.
authenticity, in
Hmm.
individuality. We don't all need to look the same. We don't all need to sound the same and act the same for it to be beautiful.